So already we have discussed about the anatomy, internal structures of medulla by doing section at different levels. So first at the level of pyramid, then at the level of your fasciculus gracilis and cuneate gracile tubercle and cuneate tubercle, and third one, that is our at the open level, cross section of the medulla at the level of the olive, or you can say at the upper part of the medulla or at the open part of the medulla. So first thing is the central gray matter is there. So central gray matter, now what will happen? Earlier central gray matter is at the center. Now the central gray matter is spread. Why it is spreading? Because our fourth ventricle, this is our fourth ventricle, cavity of the fourth ventricle, and during the development, what will happen? LR plate and basal plate. So LR plate will abducted. Earlier LR plate at the dorsal aspect, basal plate at the ventral aspect. Now LR plate, it will abducted and it spread over the floor of the fourth ventricle. Okay, so and ultimately this nucleus will be, all the nucleus will be forming at the floor of the fourth ventricle. If you see this picture, this is our central gray matter. Now this central gray matter will be spreading on the floor of the fourth ventricle, forming the floor of the fourth ventricle. So these nucleus will ultimately come at the floor. So here you can see these nucleus are coming at the floor, and this is our dorsal aspect, or you can say roof of the fourth ventricle. Now what other structures? That is your nucleus, hypoglossal nucleus, dorsal nucleus of vagus, and vestibular nucleus. So these will be at the floor of the central your fourth ventricle. Here this is hypoglossal, this is central canal, this is hypoglossal, then this is dorsal nucleus of vagus, and this is your nucleus of tractus solitarius. So all these things will come on the floor. So here these are coming. So this is hypoglossal, then this is your dorsal motor nucleus of vagus, then this is solitary nucleus, then this is our vestibular nuclei. So vestibular nuclei, it is not present in the lower level, but vestibular nuclei is present at the upper level only. Then accessory cuneate nucleus. This diagram, it is a bit difficult, so here it is more easier diagram. So this is our hypoglossal nucleus most medially, then dorsal nucleus of vagus, then nucleus tractus solitarius, then medial vestibular nucleus, and cochlear nucleus. So these are only present at the upper level of the medulla. Next, your nucleus ambiguus. Nucleus ambiguus, this lies deep within the reticular formation. Reticular formation means this on the lateral aspect. It is a reticular formation, means fibers are crossing, forming some network. It is extending from the spinal cord up to the pons. So this reticular, in the reticular formation we can see the another gray matter. Reticular formation is a white matter, while nucleus ambiguus is a gray matter. So this is nucleus ambiguus. So it is a composite nucleus. It is composite nucleus, and it is motor fiber. It is motor fiber, and this is made up of 9th, 10th, and 11th cranial nerve. 9th is the glossopharyngeal, 10th is the vagus, 11th is the accessory. So they will supply the muscles which are derived from your branchial arches. Then on either side, this is about the gray matter. So these are three nucleus at the floor, then nucleus tractus solitarius, then your vestibular nucleus, it is most laterally, then your nucleus ambiguus. So these are the about gray matter. Now what about the white matter? So on the either side of the midline, from dorsal to your ventral, dorsal to ventral, if you see, this is on the this is our midline. On the either side of the midline, from dorsal to ventral, this is our medial longitudinal fasciculus. Then this is our tectospinal tract. Tectospinal means from tectum. Tectum is a part of midbrain. So from tectum, fibers will run downwards to the spinal cord. Okay. Then your medial lemniscus. So medial lemniscus, from this medial lemniscus, fibers will go to the opposite side of the cerebellar hemisphere. Okay, so cerebellar hemisphere, fibers will go to opposite side of the cerebellar hemisphere here. So if suppose on the right side, if it is suffered, medial lemniscus is suffered, then what will happen? Ultimately, your fibers of your inferior surface of the cerebellum is get involved, and ultimately, or you can say, if the right side inferior cerebellar surface is damaged, then what will happen? These left side fibers are ultimately suffered. Then most ventrally our pyramid. Most ventrally this is the pyramid, and anteromedial aspect of the pyramid. Pyramid is made up of corticospinal fiber or corticospinal tract. All are motor fibers come from the motor area of the cerebral cortex to the spinal cord. And on the anteromedial aspect, this is a gray matter. This is white matter, but this is gray matter. Arcuate nucleus. Arcuate nucleus is actually a part of the pontine. It is a pontine nucleus, but it is inferiorly, it is extended, which is occupying your anteromedial aspect of the pyramid. So from the arcuate nucleus, it receives the fibers from the cerebral cortex. Then these coming from the cerebral cortex, fibers will go out, that is efferent fibers, to the opposite cerebellum through anterior external arcuate fibers. So here also from arcuate fibers will go to the opposite side of the cerebellar, not cerebral, cerebellar. Because arcuate nucleus fibers are coming from the cerebral cortex. From cerebral cortex, fibers will come to from right side of cerebral cortex, fiber will come to the right arcuate nucleus. From the right arcuate nucleus, fiber will go, that is efferent fiber, to the opposite left side cerebellum. Then inferior cerebellar peduncle, which is located posterolaterally. This is posterolateral aspect, inferior cerebellar peduncle. So fibers are connecting the medulla, and by means of this, it is a white matter. So these fibers, by means of these fibers, your medulla is connected to our cerebral hemisphere. So if these fibers get detached, what will happen? Ultimately, cerebellar dysfunction. Ultimately, whatever the input is coming from the cerebellum to the medulla or to the spinal cord through medulla, it will not get. That is called ataxia, incoordination of or improper coordination, imbalance, ataxia, cerebellar ataxia. Then your inferior olivary nucleus. Inferior olivary nucleus, this is just like your crumble. It is a crumble bag-like structures. So this is your one is superior olivary nucleus, one is inferior olivary nucleus. So this is your inferior olivary nucleus, due to which olive is formed. When we have discussed about the external features of the medulla, I have said olive. First is the pyramid, then lateral to or dorsal to pyramid, we are having a elevation, that is called your olive, and this olive is due to the inferior olivary nucleus. So this is gray matter. These are white matter, but this is again gray matter. Then come to the blood supply of medulla oblongata. So if blood supply of brain already you know, na? Yes, student? Yes. Okay. So blood supply of brain, this is our vertebral artery. So these two vertebral artery united to form basilar artery. Now this from the two vertebral artery, there is a one branch arise, which is called, they are united and it form the anterior spinal artery. So it will go downward through the anteromedian fissure up to the spinal cord. So from this, some branches will arise which will supply to the medulla oblongata, as well as some branches will arise from the vertebral artery which will supply the medulla oblongata. This is direct branch from vertebral artery. Some indirect branch, that is our from vertebral artery, means these are from anterior spinal artery. Direct branch means from vertebral artery directly arise to supply the medulla oblongata. Indirect branch, that is arising from the anterior spinal artery, which is the indirectly branch of the vertebral artery. And also it is supplied by posterior inferior cerebellar. This is our posterior inferior cerebellar artery. This branch is posterior inferior cerebellar artery. This is our dorsal ventral aspect of medulla. So from the ventral aspect it goes dorsally and supply the inferior surface of the cerebellum. So this is posterior inferior cerebellar artery. This is posterior inferior cerebellar artery. So it is supplying to the medulla oblongata. From here some branches will arise. It supplies the medulla as well as it supplies the inferior surface of the cerebellum. Now what will happen clinically? Sometimes this vertebral artery may get thrombus or posterior inferior cerebellar artery may get thrombus. So if these vertebral arteries get thrombus, then what will happen? Suppose here in this region vertebral arteries get thrombus. Then what will happen? Through this spinal or anterior spinal artery, it cannot get the blood supply. Ultimately medulla will get suffered. Which aspect? That is our ventral aspect of the medulla will suffer. And in that case we call it is medial medullary syndrome. If due to thrombosis of the vertebral artery medulla is get ischemia or medulla is not getting the blood supply, then we call it is medial medullary syndrome, because it will mostly suffer the paramedian region of the medulla oblongata. Then lateral medullary syndrome, when this posterior inferior cerebellar artery is to get thrombus. So what will happen? It will supply the dorsal aspect of the medulla as well as inferior surface of the cerebellum. So that is called lateral medullary syndrome. So come to the lateral medullary syndrome or of Wallenberg. Sometimes it may come as a short notes also. So what will happen in the lateral medullary syndrome? Already I have said that is our posterior inferior cerebellar artery will affect. So due to thrombosis of posterior inferior cerebellar artery, so which part of the medulla is suffered? That is our posterolateral aspect. Posterolateral aspect. Suppose if right side, then it is right side of the posterolateral aspect. If left side, then left side of the posterolateral aspect of medulla. Suppose right side. So here it is get suffered. So this is this part is get suffered because it is dorsally it is supplying dorsal surface of the medulla. So what are the structure present here? See here, this is our vestibular nucleus. So vestibular nucleus will ultimately suffer. Then what will happen? This is spinal nucleus of trigeminal spinal your tract of trigeminal nucleus. So here ultimately this spinal tract will suffer. Then your spinothalamic means from the spinal cord to go to the thalamus. Thalamus means these are all the sensory fibers. So these sensory fibers will suffer, which are coming through fasciculus gracilis, as a fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus. Then nucleus ambiguus is also here, so it will also suffer. So now what will happen? You just see what symptoms, signs and symptoms will present and as well as inferior surface of the cerebellum is also suffered. Now what signs and symptoms will produce in the patient? So produces contralateral loss of pain and temperature sensation in the trunk and limbs. Contralateral means of the opposite side. Of the opposite side, loss of pain and temperature. So loss of pain and temperature, which fibers are responsible for pain and temperature sensation from the trunk and limbs? This is our sensory fiber, that is fasciculus gracilis, tract of Gall and Bardup. In physiology it is taught most probably. So these fibers, fasciculus gracilis, will get suffered. What is happen in the lower part of the medulla? Fibers are from the medial to lateral aspect. It comes as an internal arcuate decussation. Already I have said here. This is our decussation. Fibers from fasciculus gracilis and cuneatus. These fibers from the left side, it cross to the opposite side. So what will happen? Ultimately, this spinothalamic tract. In the upper aspect, what will happen? Upper aspect, only these fibers will go as a spinothalamic, means spinal cord to thalamus. All the sensory fibers will have to relay in the thalamus before relaying into the cerebral cortex. So spinothalamic. So contrast the loss of pain and temperature sensation in the trunk and limb due to the involvement of spinothalamic tract. Why contralateral? You have understood now? Then come to ipsilateral loss of pain and temperature sensation over the face. Ipsilateral, same side. Why in the facial region same side? Because due to the involvement of the spinal nucleus and spinal tract of trigeminal nerve. From the facial region, all the exteroceptive and proprioceptive sensation is carried by trigeminal nerve. Okay, proprioceptive as well as your exteroceptive sensation is carried by trigeminal nerve from this facial region, but these fibers are not get crossed. Okay, so if my left side posterior inferior cerebellar artery is involved or thrombosed, then my left side sensation will be lost in the facial region, but opposite side of the limb and trunk. So if a patient will come to you with a history of loss of sensation over the right side of the body and left side of the facial region, then we have to think that this is due to posterior inferior cerebellar artery thrombosis. Okay. Then ipsilateral paralysis of muscles of palate, pharynx and larynx, which is due to nucleus ambiguous. Nucleus ambiguous already I have told 9, 10 and 11. So 9th, that is glossopharyngeal, which is supply one muscle, that is your muscles of pharynx. Stylopharyngeus. 10th is supply your cricothyroid, that is only muscles of larynx, cricothyroid, the only muscle exceptional. And 11 cranial nerve supplies all the muscles of the larynx. So ultimately what will happen, your 11th is also supplying the soft muscles of soft palate, except your one muscle, that is our tensor palatii, except tensor palatii. So what will happen, due to the involvement of the nucleus ambiguous, this nucleus is damaged. As this nucleus is damaged, all the motor fibers which supplies these muscles of pharynx, palate and larynx, they get paralyzed. But it is of the same side. So patient will come with a history of your slurring of voice. Patient will come with a history of slurring of voice also. Then patient cannot take food properly because soft palate is not working. Then your pharynx is not working properly. So ipsilateral. Then ipsilateral ataxia, ipsilateral of the same side, due to involvement of inferior cerebellar peduncle. The inferior cerebellar peduncle is actually on the posterolateral aspect. These are white matter, inferior cerebellar peduncle. This is white matter, which is a connection with the medulla and the cerebellum. So what will happen? Cerebellum is mainly responsible for maintaining balance and muscle tone. So this thing will be loss of the same side. Same side means same. If right side posterior inferior cerebellar artery is involved, so right patient is having your muscle tone will decrease in the right side only, and as well as there will be imbalance. There will be an imbalance when patient will walk. Patient will fall down towards the right side. Okay, that is called cerebellar ataxia. Then giddiness. Giddiness, why? Due to the improper balance, that is our vestibular nucleus is involved. So vestibular nucleus is on the posterior aspect. So ultimately all this due to the involvement of all these structures, these signs and symptoms will be seen in the patient. Okay, that is known as a lateral medullary syndrome. Mostly posterolateral aspect is involved due to the thrombosis of posterior inferior cerebellar artery. Then come to the medial medullary syndrome. Medial medullary syndrome, mostly it supplies the paramedian region. That is our involved due to the involvement of penetrating branches of anterior spinal branches of vertebral artery. So if this vertebral artery is thrombosed after giving your posterior inferior cerebellar artery. See here, this is our posterior inferior cerebellar artery and this is our spinal artery. Now what will happen if it is thrombosed, vertebral artery is thrombosed in this region, then ultimately both the lateral and medial medullary syndrome will be seen in the patient. Okay, there is a composite sign symptoms. But if only posterior inferior cerebellar artery is involved, then only we can see lateral medullary syndrome, whatever we have just now discussed. Or if suppose here this your vertebral artery is thrombosed, or if in this region vertebral artery is thrombosed, then what will happen? We can see only medial medullary syndrome. So involves the paramedian region. This is midline, so this is the paramedian region. This paramedian region will involve. So what are the structure in the paramedian region? So your first is the signs and symptoms. Contralateral, that is opposite side, paralysis of arm and leg. Arm and leg paralyzed, that means motor fiber are damaged. Motor fiber means, what are the motor fibers? This is your through pyramid, that is corticospinal, from the cerebral cortex to the spinal cord. Fibers are coming, that is forming the pyramid on the ventral aspect of the medulla oblongata. So due to the damage of the pyramid, what will happen? There will be contralateral paralysis of arm and leg, because whatever the fiber from the right side, fibers will get crossed. Fibers will get crossed now at the lower level. Fibers at the pyramidal decussation, from the right side fibers will come down forming the pyramid, then they will form the pyramidal decussation. Fibers from right side go to the left side, left will go to the right side forming the lateral lateral corticospinal tract. So ultimately at the upper level pyramid is involved, means if right side pyramid is involved, then ultimately left side muscle of the body will get suffered, that is contralateral paralysis of arm and leg. Then ipsilateral paralysis and atrophy of the half of the tongue due to damage of hypoglossal nerve. This is our hypoglossal nerve. So hypoglossal nerve is supplying the muscles of tongue. So what will happen? Due to the involvement of this hypoglossal muscle, the same side, suppose right side is suffered, then of the right side artery is suffered, so right side hypoglossal nerve will damage. As the right side hypoglossal nerve is damaged, right half of the tongue will ultimately paralyze. Then contralateral loss of position and vibration due to the damage of medial lemniscus. This is our medial lemniscus. So medial lemniscus, it is our your all the fibers, sensory fibers, from left side to right side to left side. So that is why opposite. If right side is involved, then left side fibers are damaged. So this is your sensory, at the sensory internal arcuate fiber, internal arcuate decussation, whatever that is called sensory decussation. So this is our medial medullary syndrome. So these are the two main syndrome which is due to your ischemia of the artery. So if you can see, this is your fibers. This is our spinal cord. Through the spinal cord sensory fibers, through dorsal root ganglia fibers will come, then it is relay in our dorsal horn. So from the dorsal horn, some fibers will cross to the opposite side immediately at the spinal cord level, then it will go up as a spinothalamic tract, or you can say spinocerebellar, that is our anterior or ventral spinocerebellar tract. So fibers will go to that means fibers from right side go to the opposite side, spinocerebellar, opposite side of the cerebellar cortex. So it is forming the anterior spinocerebellar or ventral spinocerebellar. Then in case of dorsal spinocerebellar, already when we have discussed, I have said that on the ventral aspect, ventral spinocerebellar, on the posterior aspect, dorsal spinocerebellar tract. So ventral spinocerebellar tract, it is your, or anterior spinocerebellar tract, it is from the opposite side. While dorsal spinocerebellar tract, it is from same side, fibers will go up and it is relay into the same side of cerebellar hemisphere. Okay, suppose if your anterior spinocerebellar tract, this part is get damaged, then which sensation will loss? From the opposite side, that is contralateral. If dorsal spinocerebellar tract is suffered, then what will happen? That is ipsilateral, same side spine or fibers are damaged. So these will ultimately relay into cerebellum. Then this is our balance, whatever the balance, your how to maintain the balance from your cochlea, vestibular apparatus. This is our vestibular apparatus. So from the vestibular apparatus, fibers will come. Where? To vestibular ganglion, where it is remain inside the petrous part of the temporal. Then these fibers will relay. Some fibers will directly go to the cerebellum. From the ganglion, fibers will directly go to the same side of cerebellum, and some fibers relay into the vestibular nuclei. From the vestibular nuclei, right side, it will go to the left side, then it will go up and ultimately it will go and relay into the different nucleus, that is oculomotor, trochlear and abducens nucleus. Why these are necessary? To maintain the balance. These fibers are from the vestibular, it is going to the opposite side, then it is relaying into the opposite side, your abducens oculomotor, trochlear, abducens. And these fibers are forming the medial lemniscus. Why medial longitudinal fasciculus? Why it is for opposite? It is relaying into the oculomotor nucleus, trochlear and abducens for maintaining balance. Any idea?
So head-eye balance.
Yes. Because eye muscle, na? Because these are the motor fibers are supplying to the muscles of the eye. Na? So when we fall, suppose walking, then what will happen? We can see, and accordingly our cerebral cortex will manage. Okay, so that is why they are relaying into these nucleus. Okay, so oculomotor is supplying to our eye muscle mainly, all the extrinsic muscles. Then your trochlear is a 6, that is your fourth cranial nerve, that is superior oblique. Then your abducens, that is 6, that is your lateral rectus is supplied. So all the muscles are supplying to the external ocular muscle or ocular muscles. So extraocular movement. This is our connection. Another connection, this is your medial lemniscus. Fibers are sensory fibers. It is coming to the spinal cord. Then they will go at the level of the medulla from your nucleus. This is our nucleus cuneatus gracilis. Then fibers will cross from the left to the right. Then it goes up, and this is our medial lemniscus. Then fibers will ultimately relay into the thalamus. From the thalamus, fibers will go to the cerebral cortex. So these are actually connections, just I have shown. This is not directly related to our class. Okay, so this is all about our medulla. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.